So here we are on Azure DevOps screen, and let's run this pipeline. There is an error here that it cannot validate the YAML file, and that's fine because I just didn't merge all my other branches back to main. So I will choose the initial migration branch. As you can see, no issues with this one, and I will run it. So on average, it will run maybe like for a minute or minute and a half, and what I will do while it's actually running, I would like to also tell you that this URL that you see here, this is actually a public project. So it will basically means that you can type this URL in your browser and you can go here, you can check all the code, you can check all the pipelines and stuff like that. Let me just open an in private window, so you will see that basically I am not using any credentials here. As you can see, it's asking me to sign in, but anyway, even as an anonymous user, I can go here, I can check all the different branches, and here I have all the different pipelines, and basically everything that I showed you today during this demo and during the other demos that will come next, everything is already here, so feel free to go and check it here. Let's return here. As you can see, we are almost done. Let's actually open the job log. Okay, now as you can see, it took about 2 seconds to install the Entity Framework CLI, another 2 seconds to generate the script, and what we have here, we have 3 published artifacts, and I have API, DB, and SQL. In API, I have my binaries basically for my API. In DB, I have my binaries for the DB project because I also use that to initialize my DB with some test data. But again, that's not the part of our conversation today. In my SQL folder, in my SQL artifact, I mean what I have the DB schema SQL. So let me just download this file here, and let me just open this file here with my Visual Studio Code. So this is the script basically which was created for the first migration branch, for the initial DB branch, with that key to make that script idempotent. So what you can see here, basically it will validate that we have the Entity Framework migration history table. If not, we will create it, and then what it will do, it will basically check for each and every migration by name, is that present in that table or not, and if it is, I mean, like, it will just skip it. If not, it will just create the employees table, and at the end it will insert, as soon as all the tables, all the new columns, basically all the migrations were applied, it will just basically insert that initial DB record to the Entity Framework migration history table. So what I want to do next, I want to return back to my Azure DevOps, and I want to rerun this pipeline again, but now I want to run it for my branch second migration. Again, it will take about a minute, but what I expect to have right now, I expect basically to have my second script, and I just want to show you the difference, because if you remember, in my first migration I just created a table. In my second migration I've altered the table with basically adding a few columns. So what I will do now, I will probably pause and then I will fast forward for about a minute and show you the results of this build pipeline. Okay, as you can see here, we are done. So let's go and check what we have in our published artifacts. The breakdown here is the same, so let's download this guy now, and let's do the same. Let's open this file again with Visual Studio Code. So what I have here, as you can see, the beginning of this file is more or less the same, okay, but then what I have next, then I'm checking for my second migration. And I'm basically altering my employees table and I'm creating all those new columns that I was talking about. So this is the way how it will work. Again, I mean, like, the first part of the file, the first probably like 30 lines are the same. Technically, you may believe that if we will just export that table, then it will just create all the columns in one go. But no, because that was two separate migrations, then here in this file, in this script, that's again needs to be interpreted as a few different migrations. So what we can do next? I do believe that this approach in general is quite good, and of course it will simplify the review process because now the DBA team can check the SQL scripts themselves. But can we improve that and provide even a better experience to it? I do believe we can, so let's check the next demo.